Let's say in a relationship, you're trying to attract someone into your life, and you think, okay, I need to persist, and you just start taking these actions from a place of lack where you're just being needy and you're just trying to bother them a lot. That's not the kind of persistence we're talking about. We're talking about persistence in your assumption inside of your own mind, where you start to see yourself as this person who is more worthy of that love. Just believe it to be true because you know it's true. It's coming from this place of abundance and not lack. Alright, in this video I want to talk about law of assumptions and how it affects every single second that we live in our lives. Now, this is a new concept that I found not too long ago, and I've been practicing it. And in fact, since I found this out, I haven't even really thought about law of attraction. And law of attraction works, don't get me wrong, but law of assumption is much more stronger because you have so much power to create your own reality when you understand this concept. So this is what I wanted to talk about in this video. So if you're interested in learning about this, let's get started. Welcome back to this video. My name is Rav and I help people with their spiritual as well as emotional transformation. And sorry about the shakiness, and also, you know, I know the camera is really up close to my face. It's just because that Samsung phones are probably not meant for people with shorter limbs. You can probably see that I'm in the beach right now. I'm in the South Beach, Miami, Florida. And I wasn't really planning to do this video, but I was here meditating earlier at the beach, and I just thought that this would be a great concept to share because I've been practicing this very deeply into my life and everything that I've been doing, and it's starting to create a lot of great results. I can even see whenever I'm not getting some things the way I want it to be, it's definitely happening because of these assumptions that I'm holding in my life. Now, what is law of assumption? Now, this was a term that was coined by Neville Goddard back in 1940s. It's basically stating that whatever we assume to be true becomes true in our lives. Now, we may think we assume that things are gonna go out our way, but energetically and inside of our minds, we're probably not expecting it to be the way we want it to be. For example, let me just share you this little story, okay? There was this little girl who was hypersensitive, highly sensitive person, or an empath, and one of her first memories is that of her being dropped off at school by her mom, and she was so sensitive to the sounds and the sights around us that she couldn't even go to the school without leaving her mom. But mom had to push her away. The gatekeeper came and yanked her away, and her first impression of the world was that world was a very violent and crazy place. For the rest of her life, she basically assumed that the world was scary and very presumptuous, like where everybody was out to get you. I don't actually know the meaning of the word presumptuous, but I hope I'm using it right. And it started showing up in every different aspects of her relationships. And not only that, every time she tried to get a job or she's trying to get some growth in her life, she would be highly charged positively. But at the same time, what would happen is that these assumptions would just come out and play in her life and basically ruin everything that she had going on. And she would practice meditations, all these different things. But at the same time, because of her assumptions just still being in that wrong place, she would not manifest things the way she wanted to. If you just replace she with he, that's actually my story, to be honest, And it just sounds better when it's she, because I was a kid who was very hypersensitive and I did not know how to navigate around the world without feeling unsafe. Just because of that feeling of unsafeness, I manifested a lot of traumas, a lot of bullying, a lot of pain in my life, and it even played out in most of my relationships that I had until this day. Actually, it still plays out until this day. I had social anxiety till the longest periods in my life, and all of a sudden, like, I just was so tired of it that I decided to change it. It just happened so instantly that the next day I was a completely different person. That's just because I was able to change my assumptions, not because of I was meditating and just try to be high vibe. I just didn't think that I could do it, but one day I just changed my assumptions and I just thought that it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna be afraid of the world anymore. I'm just gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna present myself the best way I can. And if people judge me, that's okay. If people don't accept me, that's okay. But I'm just gonna be me and just move forward in life. After that day, everything changed. I didn't know what law of assumptions was back then, but now when I start to see it in my life, it has been affecting every single aspect of my life, and it's affecting every single aspect of your life too. That's why you have the power to just assume things in a more positive way. What you have to be really aware of is sometimes you might be saying that you want something in your life. For example, you might say that you want relationships, but how are you feeling energetically? What are your thoughts saying to you about that? If you are not totally congruent with all these kind of things, you're probably not going to manifest that. But once you start becoming aware of these things in a moment-to-moment basis, that's when you start having the power. In this part of the video, I want to talk about how to persist onto your assumptions until it becomes a new reality for you. So what do we mean by that? Well, basically what it's saying is that you have to hold the assumptions in your thoughts and your beliefs, as well as your energetic system, which is your emotions or your feelings, until it becomes true. Because normally what we do is we say we want some things and we try to go after it, but when we don't see a positive outcome happening or how it's we think that it's supposed to happen, we just give up on it really easily. For example, you might go to a job interview and you don't get a job and you just quit right there. Doesn't mean that you have to be needy and be calling to the office or the job to persuade them to give you the job, but you basically have to persist onto that job or any kind of stuff until you get that. It could even be in a relationship. I see a lot of guys make this mistake too. When you're trying to attract somebody into your life, you basically give up on that person just because they say no a couple of times. And it's happened to me too, like a lot of times, because before I used to just give up on things easily, just when it wouldn't come true, because my assumption would be just like, yeah, I'm not worthy of that. But as I started persisting on things, it just started to become true. Just like how my lifestyle has changed right now. As you can see, I'm making this video from my oceanfront suite here from Miami Beach. If I had to just think about who I used to be a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have actually thought it was possible. And at that point where I had no money, basically I had no financial support or any resources at that time, I just persisted onto that fact where I just hold this idea to be true, where I could have this life of freedom, where I could just go anywhere. As a photographer, it really created that sort of freedom into my life. Right now I'm about to manifest this new career as a life coach too, and if I just give up on this right now because the reality is not happening the way I want it to be, I haven't really had a lot of paying clients since I started this journey. It's been about 9 months, something like that. I mean, in 9 months you could even have a baby, you know what I mean? But I haven't even had like more than 2 paying clients so far, right? But I could give up on it right now, right? It's easy for me to give up on it right now, but I won't. I'm just gonna persist, especially inside of my mind. I'm not gonna take action from a desperate way. That's mistakes some people make too. Let's say in a relationship, you're trying to attract someone into your life, and you think, okay, I need to persist, and you just start taking these actions from a place of lack where you're just being needy and you're just trying to bother them a lot. That's not the kind of persistence we're talking about. We're talking about persistence in your assumption inside of your own mind, where you start to see yourself as this person who is more worthy of that love, instead of being this person who is coming from a place of fear and lack and just trying to bother them, saying that I want you in my life and that kind of stuff, right? I mean, that's not gonna work. That's just gonna repel them away. That's not the kind of persistence we're talking about here. We're talking about persistence in your own assumptions, in the reality that you hold on to be true in your mind. Yeah, it almost sounds delusional in a way, but I've read a lot of biographies from a lot of people, but most successful people are deluded, if you want to call it that. They are deluded in a way. I mean, some of my favorite singers, I've read the biography to a great degree, like Axl Rose, Kurt Cobain. Even before they were famous, even before they had any good music, they would just believe in their minds that they were already super great at what they did. It's not even about fame or being popular amongst people. It's about being great at what you are, right? That's what made them super successful later on in their careers. This is the kind of persistence we're talking about. We're not talking about that kind of like needy persistence where you're just trying to bother other people with these kind of things. persist in your own assumptions inside of your own mind and just believe it to be true because you know it's true. It's coming from this place of abundance and not lack. That's the kind of persistence we're talking about. Then one thing that's gonna help you to persist even more better, at least that's helped me a lot, is to understand that everything in life is changed basically. Everything is going on a flow, right? So if everything is changing, why not help it change in the way that you would want it to be? For example, let's go back to that relationship. If someone has told you that they don't want to be with you, if it's someone you're trying to attract into your life, you could give up right there, but also understand that maybe just they don't know who you are as a person and they don't feel that attraction towards you right now. But doesn't mean that it's not never going to happen. It might even be maybe 2-3 years later on down the road. You know, you just don't give up in a way where it's coming out of a place of resentment. And I'm also not saying that you go after them, just try to bother them, be needy and be, messaging them like 10 times a day. That's not what I'm talking about. Basically just persist in your own mind. It all comes down to that. Just persist inside of your own mind and make yourself believe that you could still have it. That's the goal is yours. That woman or the man that you're trying to attract into your life is yours. That's how you persist onto the new reality. Once you start to question your own thoughts and beliefs and just change your self-concept and change the assumptions that you hold true about the world for yourself, it's just gonna change the whole reality that you have outside of yourself. Everything at the end of the day, like, it's your projection. It's all coming from here. It's not out there. Everything is your projection, right? So anything that we perceive to be true is just the meanings and the labels we attach to that kind of thing. If you change your concept of reality inside here, everything outside is just gonna change. It's just as simple as that, but it's not as simple because it's hard sometimes, right? Because we have gathered all these limiting negative beliefs that have been running for such a long time, and it's our job to be free of those. Now, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, guys, I highly encourage you to subscribe to this channel because there's always awesome contents like these rolling in. And with that being said, I want to wish you all the very best. Goodbye and namaste.